Now, why does Allah urge Salih to have patience? It would be unreasonable to explain the presence and purpose of Allah's she-camel, the Messiah, and not tie his purpose to the reason why Allah threatens to obliterate those who hamstring his Messiah. Now, by Allah's grace, I have exuded such patience. But who's listening? Now, on this question, let us consider this narrative of Thamud, Salih, and the she-camel. We continue. It states in verse 29, "But they, the leaders of Thamud, called to their companion, and he took a sword in hand and hamstrung her," meaning this she-camel. So who is the companion that accepts the task of hamstringing Allah's she-camel? In this case, the Messiah. Since they called to their companion and he chose to do it. Well, in my previous message, I mentioned the likelihood that U.S. President Donald Trump has struck a deal with Satan in the person of attorney Alan Dershowitz and those backing him, the unseen synagogue of Satan, in their effort to destroy and liquidate the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I mentioned that President Trump may be pursuing this course in return for the favor that Mr. Dershowitz did by shielding him from those who justifiably sought President Trump's impeachment in December 2019. Now, in response to what was clearly a gross injustice against U.S. citizens, I'm referring to this impeachment trial, political consultant Paul Begala wrote an article that was titled "Presenting the Ludicrous Dershowitz Doctrine," which was published on CNN.com, January 29th, 2020. Now, Mr. Begala opened by referencing statements made by former President Richard Nixon and King Louis XIV of France, which encapsulated the mindset of tyrannical leaders who consider themselves above the law of the land. Now, President Richard Nixon is on record as stating in a public interview, quote, "When the president does it, that means it is not illegal." King Louis XIV of France stated, "Laissez-moi," which means, "I myself am the nation." Now let's pick up here with Mr. Begala's article that is about condemning Dershowitz's doctrine that he used to sway the Senate to vote against, generally majority vote, against the impeachment of President Trump. Now, he states, in his defense of President Donald Trump, attorney and Harvard Law School professor emeritus Alan Dershowitz added a third variant to Nixon and Louis XIV. If a president thinks his reelection is in the public interest, anything he does in pursuit of his reelection is legal. Seriously? As part of the Senate impeachment trial, Dershowitz was called upon to answer a question about the legality of the quid pro quo, that well-worn Latin phrase that means literally this for that. House Democrats have impeached President Trump for allegedly seeking to exchange $391 million in Ukrainian military aid, which is the this, for Ukraine announcing it would investigate supposed corruption by his political rival, former Vice President Joe Biden and his son, which is the that. To a normal person, A public official making the performance of his or her public duties contingent upon receiving some personal gain looks like solicitation of a bribe. But not, in quotation, he said, I'll put at that fire, ma'am, if you will give me title to that Corvette in the driveway. But not Professor Dershowitz, For him, the fact that Trump was seeking help for his reelection was not incriminating. It is exculpatory. Every public official that I know believes that his election is in the public interest, Dershowitz said. And mostly you're right. Your election is in the public interest. And if a president did something that he believes will help get him or help him get elected in the public interest, that cannot be the kind of quid pro quo that results in impeachment. I did not go to Harvard Law, but I did go to the University of Texas School of Law, where I studied criminal law and constitutional law, but never dreamed a legendary legal mind would set them both ablaze on the Senate floor. The Dershowitz doctrine would make presidents immune from every criminal act, so long as they could plausibly claim they did it to boost their reelection effort. Well, the U.S. Constitution has long been set ablaze, right from its inception in 1787. And we have witnessed, especially with the previous 6 presidents, the complete shredding of the Constitution. So now gangsters, warmongers, and brutish thugs have been in the Oval Office, and Joseph Biden will be no different than the rest of them.